Was I kicked out of my house here at the lake? Wife not talking to me, not even giving me the kids. She's just railroading me, running over me, with the kids, beating me with everything. Um, and just total loss, I guess. And so now, let's see, she has been so happy with the way that, I showed up for the kids, that I showed up for their events, for all their stuff, that I just started picking them up from school, doing all sorts of stuff that, I couldn't do before, but look, you got to make time. Um, I'm back in the house. I got back in the house 2 weeks ago. Um, she sat with me last night. We watched a movie together. We're just moving closer and closer. She keeps telling me she's all, almost ready for, you know, yada yada, the next step, which just take your time. We're enjoying this. Things are going well. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's been a total turnaround for me. At work, it has really turned me around. And being able to communicate with my employees, I feel like you can apply a lot of these same things. Needed something to be able to communicate because she was not communicating at all with me.
Mhm.
And, it turns out, obviously once you get into that first part, you find your peace yourself. I couldn't have her be my peace. And that's what I was trying to do. And you can't have that from another person, you know?
Mhm. Oh,
Like, if she shuts down, that's when like, she don't wanna tell you anything. She don't wanna be there, but she's trying to tell you something, and she told me 4 or 5 things, and after going through a bunch of those modules, I immediately said, "Do you just feel like you don't have a voice?" She goes, "Yes." She couldn't express it. She couldn't figure it out. I would recommend it to people before they get married. Like, I would
yeah.
like to know how to communicate, um, I would recommend my boys before they get married, like, "Hey, we're gonna go talk about 6 or 7 of these things you need to know, like, your wife's gonna be totally different from you. It's not gonna be like hanging with your boys. Like it's totally different. It's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be amazing, but like she's gonna communicate differently than you. So yeah, but anybody struggling, obviously, it was a big help, big support system there. But I think there's a lot of places it applies.
All right, man. So, a lot of great stuff. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I've been boasting about you a lot in terms of like when people come in. I'm like, oh, see, there you go. It was just a little dust. These cameras, man. Anyways, when people come in and they go, Noah, like I see how powerful it is. I'm seeing something, but what's going on? I'm like, well, what are your action steps? And I really seen you just like literally day one, you just crushed it. Like you just kind of went balls to the wall, and you were the first person in a while. Even some of the guys that have been in for a while. I'm like, hey, where are your action steps on and so forth. You're the first person that went in a long time that just went back to back to back to back to back with action steps.
Yeah.
So I just want to commend you with that for sticking to it, getting down, getting dirty, and really not just doing the process, but becoming, right? And being really ingrained into the process. So awesome, man. So I just have several questions for you. Okay. And we'll just start off light, and then they're not any, the last question is the craziest question. I'll just preempt you. Uh, Not really, but so we'll just kind of go through this. So just in the beginning, why did you get the book, the Heroic Husband book?
Well, I got the book because my wife had filed for divorce, and I couldn't. Um, I had a couple buddies I reached out to, and a couple other uh, things that I tried, and nothing was getting me anywhere. Nothing seemed to give me any peace um, about the situation. So I read up. I was watching some online YouTube videos, and your stuff came up, and I saw the book, and I was like, "Man, I need to at least try this," because I was, looking at other programs. What's going to help me here?
Mhm.
I had a pastor send me, he's like, "Hey, you gotta read your Bible every day. It's the basics." And I was like, "Oh, I forgot some of the basics." And then I saw some of the comments and successes guys had, and your success rate was what told me that, like, "Hey, I want to try this because it actually you know, give yourself the best odds possible." So I got a counselor that has a really high success rate, and your class had a high success rate. I'm like, if I do all these things, these measurements that get me to the highest success rate, then well, at least we'll have a chance, right? And your
Mhm.
family's worth fighting for and all that. But I initially I before I even read the book, I was worried that, my commitment would be done. So I actually signed the front of the book. I have it back in the bedroom. And I signed it and wrote a note to myself before I got to the oath and all the other stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm going to commit. I'm going to finish this book. And as soon as I finished the book, I was like, man, I need more. I've got to get, it makes sense, but I've got to dive into this because I didn't understand anything emotionally at all
Mhm.
about how to communicate. So.
That's 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 awesome, man. And one thing you said real quick, you said that you wanted peace with the situation. What do you mean? What do you mean by that specifically? That's interesting.
Well, I couldn't get any peace at home, and, I think part of it was, yeah, I kinda fell off my faith quite a bit, not reading my Bible, drinking too much, whatever, but really, I couldn't find peace with my wife. We couldn't communicate. She shuts down all the time, when we're, you know, just having a regular discussion, so then I get upset, and then she won't circle back, and so, really, I needed something to be able to communicate because she was not communicating at all with me.
Mhm,
And, it turns out, obviously, once you get into that first part, you find your peace yourself. I couldn't have her be my peace. And that's what I was trying to do. And you can't have that from another person, you know?
mhm. I love
So,
it. I love it. Now, real quick, you kinda touched on this, with our success rate, and you're even seeing with, like Sean and, like, some people that are like, "Oh, this is the worst of the worst." I'm like, "Don't worry. We've seen it before. Follow the steps, you know, mindset, healing, shifting into the Renaissance man. Don't worry. Like once you get rid of that ICT, got to replace it. Just, first within yourself. But if you really had to look at it, what was exactly the point that you knew why you were going to join the turnaround program and why did you ultimately join? Was it just a success rate?
success rate was first. And then the book made a lot of sense to me. I was
Mhm,
seeing a lot of reactions. You're like, well, if you do this, she'll react like this and this and this. And I was like, yeah, yeah, that's exactly how she's reacting. That's how I'm reacting. I'm chasing her. I'm trying to go get my wife back. What the heck?
mhm,
So yeah, it just kind of made sense. So like, okay, there's something here. Whereas, what I was trying was, hey, just flood her with, I'm sorry's and I'm like, man, I'm just throwing neediness real hard at somebody that wants the exact opposite. So yeah, I think seeing what there were things in there I didn't understand, and knowing that I needed those. But the main reason for the course was actually I really thought she was going to divorce me. She didn't talk to me for 30 days. And then, we go to court and still did the temporary order. I was like,
mhm.
man, I'm just going to build myself up. So I started building myself and being able to take care of my kids better and everything else. Cause for her, I understand it's different. I do most of the work. I bring in most of the money. So she took care of the kids. So I had to make time for that. I had to carve everything out and do everything different, literally change everything. And I needed a support for that. And this gave me some tools to do that.
Awesome. Awesome, man.
Yep.
So in the I guess we kind of talked about this, but so was the communication or obviously the no contact, right? Thinking things are gonna go like you're like everybody saying, hey, just kind of like throw your hands up type of a deal. You reach out to some people and they're like, hey, do the fundamentals, read the Bible, so on and so forth. But what specific problem were you trying to solve? Was it just a communication issue?
For joining.
Yeah, or just in general, like what problem with the book, with it all?
Man, that's a deep question. I think the problem I was trying to solve, I didn't know what problem I was trying. I was just trying to
Yeah.
to get back on a good path. You spiral, and get some really clarity. I think in what my life wants to be, because when I came in, my life was basically just been bombed.
Mm,
So I was like, I just need to rebuild this. And so then when it said rebuild yourself, I did that, and then I started being able to rebuild those around me. And part it's funny you say that. I don't know, that just God, that's such a good question. Yeah, obviously your end goal is I wanted to get my wife back. I want to get my family back. They're worth fighting for. I mean, that was obviously, the number one goal. But yeah, I guess.
yeah, no, that's awesome. And I just want to highlight what you said. A lot of people, and as you've seen, because you just went balls to the wall, and you had a pretty really quick turnaround. And obviously, it's a lifestyle. It's still a continual thing, right? We're still going Renaissance man 3.0, 4.0. Like we just keep going, right? Health, wealth, knowledge, purpose, and mission, right? Um, but a lot of people really miss the whole you got to put your own mask on, especially as a leader in the family. When you're the one that builds the house, she makes it a home. Like there's so many layers just to that metaphor that I think a lot of people overlook. So no, that was perfect, man. Now, so you said you did look at other things and other kind of like tactics or whatever. So what did you like about us versus other models or other things that you were looking into?
I did one call with another group. I don't remember who it was. It's somebody on YouTube.
Hmm.
And the first call, they immediately sent me a notice back like, "Hey, man, we'll set you up and do a qualification call and whatever." And in the first little bit, the guy was like trying to convince me that I was so unhappy with myself and all this other stuff and kind of self-deprecating. I was like, "Man, this doesn't seem like," it just none of it made sense to me. And then I was like, "Okay." And, they had this full 7 steps. You do these 7 steps, everything's gonna work. And that was a couple of steps made sense. Well, that's kind of an obvious thing. Don't be an asshole. But, um, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
No, you're
But,
good. You're good.
um,
I'm not going to blur this out. Like what
okay,
I want you to do is just be yourself. Just be normal,
okay.
right? Just because like,
So what separated is it made sense to me.
mhm,
Was like the gap that I saw is I do not know how to communicate with my wife. And that's something that has caused a lot of like rifts between us because I'm saying one thing, like you said, front yard, backyard, and there's a gap I just couldn't cut. And if I couldn't ever fix that gap, we could never get into the house.
mhm,
Um, so I think that was the main thing was really the clarity around. I just, 168 pages in the book or whatever. I think I read through that in one night or 2 nights, and then I reread it, and I'd already signed it and went back through, but it just made sense to me, like and then also, combination of that with, all the guys that said they'd seen success with it, all the stuff you had done online. Just I listened to a couple of your, YouTube things, and I don't know, it just kinda clicked with me, like, this is something that could really help me.
mhm. Awesome, man. Now, obviously, um, what results did we help you achieve?
Gosh, the funny thing is my wife she's still the other night saying, this 180 in you. She's like, I still don't know if I fully believe it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I get that. Yeah. She kind of laughed. She's like, I know it's who you've become, but she's like, it's hard for me to trust that. So I get that, but I didn't think I needed a 180. Um, so, uh, let's see, where was I? Kicked out of my house here at the lake. Wife not talking to me, not even giving me the kids. She's just railroading me, running over me, with the kids, beating me with everything. Um, and just total loss, I guess. And so now, let's see, she has been so happy with the way that, I showed up for the kids, that I showed up uh, for their events, for all their stuff, that I just started picking them up from school, doing all sorts of stuff that, I couldn't do before, but like you gotta make time. Um, I'm back in the house. I got back in the house 2 weeks ago. Um, she sat with me last night. We watched a movie together. We're just moving closer and closer. She keeps telling me she's all, almost ready for, you know, yada yada the next step, which just take your time. We're enjoying this. Things are going well. Um,
Mhm,
but yeah, it's been a total turnaround for me. At work, it has really turned me around. And being able to communicate with my employees, I feel like you can apply a lot of these same things. A lot of times it's just surface level. You listen to your team, but you're like, man, I know what's best because I've done this for 10 years. Well, if I bring them in and listen a little bit more, I'm like, okay, this is why you're upset. It's either you're having to do extra work because this person did this, but wasn't taking time to listen. I was just process, do this does this. And it's gotten our finances in a bind. I had to do an audit this year, and that all this kind of came together at the same time. So it's really helped me to see, like, you got to take your time with some things. You have to do the process, or else everything's going to be chaos. My work was
mhm.
chaos. all this. And now I feel like at peace. I feel like, you cut a clean slate and you're moving forward and it just feels cleaner. It's like it's manageable.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And that's probably one of my biggest things that I always tell you guys. How can you ask someone to let you lead if you don't know how to lead yourself? Right. And even with the conversational frameworks and everything, that's why I call it true active listening, because it's not just like the surface level paraphrasing that everybody's kind of used to, that we're kind of told, like, this is how you communicate. But it's actually being able to embody and understand and go a little bit deeper. So I love that. Now, what were you expecting when you read the book and when you joined the turnaround program?
Man, I don't know what I was expecting. I was just hoping to get some tools. I was,
Mhm.
when I first dove in, I'm like, dude, 2 days, I'll be back in the house. Like, this will give me everything I need. I guess I was more hoping for that, because we're kind of in a panic. But no, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the backbone is a leadership uh, thing that is necessary for a man and a family.
Mhm. Yeah, I love it, man. Now, um, with everything, and then we'll kind of I'll kind of ask you about like other takeaways, but what from you, from what you've seen, everything that you've applied, everything that you've learned, book, turnaround program, what has been your main takeaway?
Uh, my biggest takeaway or my biggest turnaround?
No, biggest takeaway. Mhm.
Biggest takeaway, man. I think the thing I'm going to take away from this the best is just honestly leadership and ability to handle situations a lot more maturely and in a way that I guess I don't know if appropriate's the word, but in a way that I don't know, grounded as a man, um, feeling like I can lead through anything. If you can lead through this type of fire, so I mean things were falling apart, and you're sitting in the middle of this ash, and how do you pick yourself up? I mean, the fact that you have a community is awesome because I've reached out to some of the guys. They've reached out to me. It's like, okay, we're not the only ones in the fire. It's similar to, I know you're military, right?
Yeah.
Similar to that. I can't understand that level, but I played college football, the same thing. We're going through
Oh
a
yeah.
game and it's just everything's on fire. You got to pick yourself up, knowing that there are resources out there. But I think the biggest takeaway is, you know, uh, the big moment was that nobody's coming to help me but me, and then how the biggest takeaway is gonna be the leadership skills I feel like I've gained, in terms of leading myself and improving those around me, being able to lead them.
Awesome, man. So now with the turnaround program specifically, now what we've gone back and forth with on Voxers, group coachings and all of that, what would you say would be the top 3 things that you've learned just in the turnaround program and with all the coaching?
I think one of the biggest ones was detaching all the hooks,
Mhm.
learning how to do that. I think I got one of my biggest ones out recently after I got in, but, you know, being able to, not count on her emotions or anyone's emotions, for your validation or anybody else for your validation. You just got to know that you're enough. I think that is very key because if you're counting on somebody else to have a bad day, you have a bad day. Well, then what if you have a bad day the next day?
Mhm.
Like when you gonna have a good day? So you have to kind of lead through that. I think kind of understanding. Um, I think a lot of the emotional communication, like it's been a real turnaround of when she'll, have these emotional she's done this our whole marriage, but now obviously it's elevated. When she has an emotional thing, not taking it personally, like
Mhm.
that, she's not attacking me. It's how she feels right now. She's trying to tell me. Like, if she shuts down, that's when like she don't want to tell you anything. She don't want to be there. But she's trying to tell you something. And she told me 4 or 5 things, and after going through a bunch of those modules, I immediately said, "Do you just feel like you don't have a voice?" She goes, "Yes." She couldn't express it. She couldn't figure it out, and I
Mhm.
I had to ground and actually listen and like, "Okay, what she's telling me?" And I think digging deeper is probably one of the last ones because we've been doing a lot of conversations, digging real deep, and I think when you get deep, you realize, like you say, into the soil instead of looking at the leaves, you get down into the soil and you're like, "Man, okay, This is how I can improve myself. This is what she really needs. This is what I really need. I didn't even know what I really needed. So I think
Mhm.
the more you dig into things, just like with the business or anything else, the more you dig into it, the more you find the root cause. And if you don't find the root cause, you can't deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you said something quite interesting there. Um, and for the life of me, I just lost it, but it'll come back. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you said, when you saw a couple of modules, you just like instantly during a communication piece, right? You instantly said, "Hey, you just don't feel like you have a voice." How how shocking was that to you when you got into the modules and you're like, or even in the book, right? I hear this all the time. But in the book, you're like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what's actually going on." Like, how shocking, but also how liberating was that for you when you can kind of pick up those patterns yourself?
Absolutely liberating. It's a confidence thing. Now I don't feel like I have to like, because if I would say something, she'd get upset. I'd be like, "Oh, what did I do?" Or I get upset, and then she just shuts down. I'm like, "What?
Mhm.
What do I do?" It's a confidence thing. She can come talk to me, and she sent me a text today. I forget the exact words, but she said, "I feel like I can actually talk to you now. I feel like we can actually." So I'm like, "Okay, you feel safe now." And I didn't understand she needed to feel safe. I was like, "I thought we were just cool. We're just hanging." But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was yeah, all right. It's like hanging with your boys.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not the same. No. Um,
Oh yeah. The masculine and feminine are they're two
dog.
there's a beautiful polar opposite behind them, right? But that's why we're so attracted to each other. It literally drives whole industries, you know? So,
It
love it,
builds
man.
respect for
Love
that
it.
too. You respect that more than you did before. 'Cause it used to be I'm just frustrated with it. Now it's like I love it. I respect it. I love how she is a mother and all those emotions and things. When they're good, they're great. It's the most amazing thing. When they're not, it's like I'm at the lake house. So
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. So, what do you think was your biggest challenge that you were trying to overcome while you were in the trenches and we were kind of going through everything?
Well, the funniest thing is when you told me, you're like, "Stop worrying about how she feels. Stop letting that drive you up and down." It was
Yeah.
like, and you said it pretty harsh, and I was like, "All right, need to hear that. Need coach to, yell at me."
Tough love.
I think that one was one. I think the detaching and realizing there could be life without her. What's that gonna look like? Am I gonna be the
Mhm.
same, you know, the same person, that's gonna rely on other people? Am I gonna go find something else to rely on? You know? Um, I think that those were 2 of the biggest, I think.
Awesome. All right. Now I just have a couple more questions that we're going to wrap up. Super
Okay.
simple, super quick. Now, what are your thoughts on Noah's level of feedback and action steps?
I really like, your level of feedback. I felt like when I needed something quick, you got to me. And I feel like especially in the modules, some of them were longer and you kind of space some of them out. Um, the only thing that for me was a little spacey till you recreated those sheets was I had to kind of build my own sheets. So while I was going through the modules, I would actually type everything down that you would put on your slides. Cause then I'm
Hmm.
like, see it, hear it, feel it. And so I actually created my own sheets that were, all that stuff. And then when you came out with the newer sheet, with everything on it, because it's like, do this daily, do this daily, do this daily. I'm like, that's like 50 things to do daily. And I was like, okay, hang on, just write them down. And so I put them all down. And it wasn't 50. I'm just giving you some shit. But
Yeah.
um, when you actually start doing them, you realize, hey, I can actually keep track of where I'm at. I can, actually see progress or, negativity. Now, where do I need to change? It's actually that part of it was really good. So I like the way that it's set up and I like the format. I feel like for me, it really helped. I have to see things, but also like saying it in the mirror. Yes, I need that. But it's more for me is typing or writing it. I used to write everything. Now I type everything. So
Hmm.
I just literally would type along as you talk. I'd pause, type what I thought was important off there. So my memory on my computer hates you right now because all the save stuff I have. No, that was there. That's my feedback. No, I like the way you presented it.
I love it, man. And I feel you too. As soon as everything became digital, for the longest, and I still, because we're doing like I guess not really spring cleaning, but we're cleaning up things. And I still have like piles of notebooks, all handwritten notes. And my wife was like, "Why did you do this to yourself?" And I'm like, I didn't want to just go all into Google Docs. Now I'm all about Google Docs and all of that whatnot. So yeah, I love it, man. I feel you. I feel you on that. Now, we'll just wrap up with about 3 more questions. So, would you recommend this to other people?
Yeah, honestly, there's 2 places I've recommended it to a few buddies. I don't know if they've jumped on, but they've asked me, and like, their wives were going crazy on 'em. I was like, "Dude, what'd you do?" He's like, I yelled back at her." I was like, "Great. And how'd that work out?" And he was out of the house for 7 days. I was like, "Dude."
Yeah.
So I gave them some advice, but, I also, directed him. I was like, "Dude, you guys need to do this." I think anyone in their marriage, but a lot of the communication stuff you have in there, we did a, like, pre-marriage thing with an old pastor,
Mhm.
and dude was checked out at the time. I think we did 4 meetings, and he didn't give any good advice. Like, he gave some good advice, but nothing about how to communicate. He's like, "Oh, it's gonna be tough. Okay, you guys will get through it." Like, "Okay, I guess." I would recommend it to people before they get married. Like, I would
Uh-huh.
like to know how to communicate. Um, I would recommend my boys before they get married, like, "Hey, we're gonna go talk about 6 or 7 of these things you need to know. Like, your wife's gonna be totally different from you. It's not gonna be like hanging with your boys. Like, it's totally different. It's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be amazing, but like she's gonna communicate differently than you." So, yeah, but anybody struggling, obviously, it was a big help, big support system there. But I think there's a lot of places it applies.
Oh yeah, awesome. And sorry, you lagged there real quick, or if it was me, but we're back. We look like we're back. Okay, so now this is probably the toughest question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Noah?
Noah, I did not
Yeah,
know he
me.
was 6'7". I did not.
Oh yeah,
If we're doing a basketball team, man, I'm 6'2". I'm shooting guard, so we could get this done, I think. Um,
yeah,
no, I like I like the way I don't know. I like your presentation. You don't have that professor voice where it's like Bueller, where somebody's gonna fall asleep. You do change that up. No, I liked, and the thing that I feel like is you genuinely care, like, because
uh-huh,
you're not gonna softball it over. "Oh, it's okay, man. Just do this." You're like, "Dude, what the hell are you thinking? Do this right."
uh-huh,
And I like that direct approach. These guys need that because we're in a state of chaos and a state of crash, and you're just right at it. Man, hey, let's go through the middle of this, and like you need to deal with the situation, or you know. And so I appreciate the directness and the access to you, which I think is probably pretty rare. And it's got to be taxing on your time. There's what 182 members or something. I was looking today. I was like, good gosh, how
yeah,
does he keep up with everybody?
yeah. Yeah, that's why we're always growing. We brought on the new coach. You guys will see my assistant in there taking notes for you guys to get hot takes. You guys will she's gonna capture, like when we're live on hot seats or anything, like, all those good snippets so I can put them in post for you guys, or we can even put them in a module or just slap them onto like a master doc of like, hey, don't forget this. Something like an archive or something. But yeah, we have people, drop in and drop out because, when people are all good, they go, "All right, later, Noah." And I'm like, "Wait, like you got to keep doing this." And like, "Yeah, don't worry." Like, and then I'll get a random Voxer every now and again. Hey, Noah, I forgot my access. Can I have a login, please? Like, here you go, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. And it's look, it's super necessary, right? Like, I'm not like in your face like a drill instructor, like for you guys, because I also understand that you have to kind of go through. You have to go through the troughs. You have to go. Everyone wants the peaks, right? You got to go through the valleys, and then you got to go through the troughs because that's where you're forged. That's where the man of steel is forged. That's where your Renaissance man is even transformed, right? Because you're never trying to kill that part of you. You're always transforming and becoming better, right? It's not like a computer where you can just turn that off and turn it on again when there's a glitch in your relationship. You got to keep building forward,
Right.
man. Yeah.
Right.
Uh, if
100%.
only, right? If only.
There's so many. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I just wanted to share your success because, especially when it comes to being kicked out, especially when it comes to no contact, comes to stonewalling, I think, and it's very funny because I always have people go, hey, uh, what's the word? I always have people, especially some of the new guys, they're always like, "I wish she would yell at me. I wish she was cheating." I'm like, "No, you don't.
No.
Whatever situation you have right now, don't worry. We will handle it. It's patterns. It's all good. Don't worry. We got this." Right. And so
Right.
I find that stonewalling, especially when there's no contact, that's what really drives people up a wall. And I love sharing these stories because you really do have the power. Like, genuinely, you really do have the power. First, you just got to attack your ICT with everything that we give you, reinforce your man of steel, and then you go through the excavations, bada bing, bada boom. You shift in the Renaissance man, and it's like a magnetism that's it's really powerful. And I'm going to commend you too. Even you kind of telling your wife, like, "Hey, don't worry, we're just enjoying this." That's actually masculine polarity right there. And that's a beautiful play. So with that said, Todd, is there any words of encouragement or any last minute thing that you just kind of want to, whoever watches this video, you just want to kind of let them know, just kind of tell them just positivity or words of encouragement that you can tell everybody?
I would say, man, if you're gonna do it, commit and see it through, because there's a lot of times you do not wanna keep going, especially when you're in the fire. And, the community around this helps so much. The access to you, the advice, like, you've been through it, you've seen it. We've got all these guys from all different situations that it's the same instruction because that's how males and females are. I mean, it makes so much sense on that. But I would encourage anybody to take, if you're struggling, this can help you to build yourself, to build your family, and to feel like a leader, build a bunch of confidence that maybe either you didn't have, you didn't know you had, or just the ability to lead through somebody that's totally opposite of you, and have them actually follow you and want to. So I would encourage anybody, don't quit just because 'cause they're not talking to you, just because you can't see your kids all that much, yada, yada. Don't quit. Nothing's impossible. Presence is so important, even if you can't contact. So, I would say don't quit.
Awesome. And actually, one thing I wanna just, this is ad hoc. You saying that actually kind of just, when you were in the middle of no contact and you were in the middle of the shit, what would be one piece of advice that you would tell yourself? Like Todd now, who's just back with his wife, embracing that moment, right? Being able to see your kid, like you're with your family again, right? You guys are building back better than before. Not, hindsight bias is 2020, right? But with what you know now, what would you tell Todd back then?
Man, I would tell him to, like, slow down, relax. I stressed out so much. I lost 40 pounds. I did the keto diet, which was part of that, but I think half of that was stress. I didn't sleep. Take care of yourself. Um, if you show up and you look tired and you show up and you're half brained, you cannot do things correctly. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. So I would say I would have gone back, told myself, don't go chase her, get some sleep, and just keep showing up because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you turn that light out yourself, then you're never gonna get there.
Oh, I like that. That's beautiful. All right. Well, we'll close on that. I really appreciate you, Todd. I will stop the recording